Okay, now let me tell you something, because I saw both people clapping for it. Let me tell you, my humanist friends out there, I'll let you in on something. You're an atheist. I know it's hard. I know it's hard just saying, I'm an atheist. Try doing it while black. Yes. That's right, man. It's tough, man. I know it's tough, man. Black people. I call this the family and friends program when you're a black atheist. You know why? Because you lose family and friends. Let me give y'all an example, man. I mean, it's hard, because you got to come out like you're gay. To tell people you're an atheist. Check this out. Got this friend named Jerry, right? We've been friends forever. I mean, I saw him fall in love, get married, have kids. Saw him buy his first house. Everything going along just beautiful. All of a sudden, Jerry asked me one day, he goes, Steve, could you be my kid's godparent? Time for us to have a little talk, Jerry. Now check this out. I told him like this, I tried to break it to him as simply as I could. Jerry, I'm gonna tell you something. I love you, I love Cindy. Kids are beautiful, they're getting straight A's. But I can't be no godparent, man. I'm an atheist. Dun, dun, dun. Jerry looked at me like, so what, Steve? I don't care if you're an atheist, so what? It's like, I don't care, you're already black, who gives a fuck? Kiss my ass, Jerry. That's right, man, that's right. It's tough being a black atheist, man, because I'm going to tell you, black people got the...
Okay. So, hello, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and this is the show No Old White Guys, which is me, Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and this is Secular TV, and I am here with Steve Hill, who is a comedian, and also making a bid for state senate in California, which, congratulations, that's very cool.
Thank you.
Anyways, so the purpose of my show is, like I said, I grew up thinking atheists were people like Dan Barker and Christopher Hitchens and
the usual suspects.
The usual suspects. But basically old white guys.
Right.
And that's kind of what I always thought of atheists. It wasn't until I was older that I saw other religions and everyone else were also atheists. So this is my opportunity to talk to everybody else.
Yeah, cool.
So,
cool.
Anyhow.
That's very progressively thinking for you to do something like this, take on this endeavor. That's beautiful.
So when you were growing up, was your household very religious?
Yes, very much so. My mother made sure that we got off to church every Sunday. She took us with us, so it was, pretty much a forced march to the car. And you get in there and you do what church people do. You go to church, and I didn't pay very much attention anyways. I knew I just wasn't into it.
Yeah. So were you one of those people like me that just, you went, but you're like, I don't think so.
Yeah, from a very early age.
So you never convinced.
At least 8 years old.
So at what point did you reveal this to your family? Or
basically, they always kind of knew. I always kind of protested going to church. But basically, relatively not too long ago, speaking, with me being the age that I am, born in 1961, so, just a few years ago when I actually started having some conversations with my mother about this. I can't believe it. I don't believe it. And she just recently admitted, even though she'll never change her ways, she admitted to my wife that she too also has doubts and questions like a lot of people do. But they're afraid to exercise those, to even take it a step further because of the cognitive dissidence that they feel, that uneasy feeling.
That brings me to the point of you are actually one of the inspirations from this specific show. I've always kind of had these thoughts of, everyone else who's not really included. You see all these old white guys. Mm-hmm. Even in the conferences, most of the speakers are former Christian white males. But in your routine, you get very heavily in, especially where the black man, that on one side you're dealing with whites and that kind of discrimination. And on the other side, as an atheist,
Yes.
you're dealing with the religious backing of everyone else.
Yes.
And that conflict that causes you get it from both sides.
I pretty much piss off everybody. It's throw one grenade and get them all. It makes even my white atheist friends, I know my material makes them uncomfortable. But the way I look at it is, damn, you don't have any slaves at home, right? So this shouldn't affect you that adversely, shouldn't have that impact. These are just jokes, but I'm trying to convey a message also. But yeah, my white friends, they feel uncomfortable even laughing at some of my material. Then the black people, they're like, how dare you say that, like, these white people's been good to me.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's like contradictions all over the place, but usually people laugh, and it's kind of hard for them to be too mad at you when they're laughing. So
now my wife is she's Mexican and she's Catholic, and I'm always telling her that the only reason why she's Catholic.
Is she from Mexico?
Yes.
Okay, then she's Mexican. A lot of people have these
things confused. She's Mexican Catholic, which is a whole different thing. But I keep telling her the only reason she's Catholic is when Spain came and conquered Mexico, they basically said, you're going to be Catholic, and if you're not going to be Catholic, you're not going to be. Correct. So the smart ones converted, and everyone else
and they started
Catholic.
Building missions all along California and converted all the Indians and indigenous native people, and so she was part of that.
So a big part of your routine is basically when the Christians came and got everyone from Africa, they basically said, now you're Christians too.
Yeah. Basically, I've read a lot of things in literature and books where we were, and shout out to my friend Dusty Smith. He gave me some of this information that we were baptized in Africa before they put us on the ships.
Yeah.
They were baptizing us right there and, giving us all of God's blessings and putting us on the ships to come here to help build America. Yeah, so religion with us goes away. That's all we know. So, we've been victimized.
Yeah. Well, which came first, your activism or your comedy? I mean,
My comedy came first. I was primarily doing political humor until I tried to go and help out with a program that this church group had. And after I told them I wasn't really religious, they never called me no more. So I was like, wow, you're going to turn down someone with my life experience to help the youth just like because that? I don't. Yeah, you don't do me like that. The nerve of you. So I turned my barrels, both of them, towards the whole church issue, atheist activism, to let people know that there's people who think differently outside the typical norms and parameters of average black people.
When I first saw you at ApostaCon, how many conferences like this have you done?
I don't know. I started in 2013 with NAPCON. You've probably never heard of that. I think it's defunct now. National Atheist Party. Mm-hmm. Guy named Troy Bull, I think, was running it. But it's gone on. It was a small conference. But it was good for me because I met Dusty Smith. I met Aaron Ra. And a couple other people in the movement, and they Aaron. I know. I hate pronouncing your name, man. I'm just start calling him Ra. He gonna think I'm cheering for him. Hey, Ra.
Yeah. I keep thinking nurse. RN.
Yeah. Black Ebonics, man. That just fucks me up. Oops. Rated PG. Nah, but yeah, man. I after I went to one, everything kind of like snowballed, and I wound up at the American Atheist Union for Mandisa Thomas. She had a little offshoot party, get-together thing. And I said, hey, let me just come and perform. And I did, and that led to another and another and another. I don't know. I've probably completed successfully about 15 conventions. Now,
there are all kinds of levels of activism. Do you do anything other than the comedy to...
I speak.
You just
I spoke most recently at the Denver Hub for their local secular movement there in Denver. It was at the American Humanist Conference, which I spoke at the dinner, just a few, told a few jokes.
Yeah.
And then I went and gave a more serious, focused speech at the secular hub in Denver, which is a very cool place. Very cool place. I wish all communities had a place of security and a little sanctuary that atheists could go to and, you know, just get together with people who think like you, you know?
Yeah, it's amazing to me that atheism still has this stigma. And even like ABC News recently did that episode, What Would You Do? And they had a person playing the atheist that was just the exact opposite, pretty much, of 99.9% of atheists.
Right.
It was just...
Yeah. It's the guy over there with the devil costume. That's it. Yeah, I know.
It's like, I don't know if society wants to make atheists look bad because we don't believe what they believe, or just because they can't understand that we don't believe what they believe. But what else? Your bid for state senate. How do you think that's going to tie into both your comedy and your activism?
Well, for one, in my community, which is heavily right-wing, religious, evangelical part of Los Angeles County, it's going to be the first time that someone even remotely like me has a voice. So I'm going to make my voice heard. I did the writing candidacy to get some name recognition up. I got a good team in place together. I got people's support that I will need, like the one of the teachers' unions in the area. So, this time it'll be way more serious. More people will be paying attention. And when I start speaking, people have a tendency to listen. So that's a good thing when you're running for office, when people listen and actually hear what you have to say.
Well, you're pretty much an imposing figure regardless, so...
But I ain't never robbed nobody.
I can't imagine anybody ignoring you.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
And if you ever meet this man, don't say anything about his height or basketball because you don't want to hear about it.
It's a joke.
So, back a little bit more of your upbringing. Your more extended family, how are they dealing with both your career choices and your non-belief?
They are very, I'll just call them tentative when it comes to supporting, because they don't really quite understand the whole, like, why would you do that? You know, they're church people. They are, you know, it's in our family. I mean, my grandparents, everyone from the South and moved to St. Louis from the South. That is Mississippi, which is like...
Yeah, 'cause you mentioned that you were expecting
religion on steroids.
A pretty good crowd last night, but few showed up, which I can relate to.
Yeah. 5 of my family showed up last night. That was I guess that was an overwhelming turnout for my family. But yeah, these are my nieces and nephews that are a little bit more forwardly thinking, progressive. You know, they're a little more open-minded than the rest of my family. So they came out and they were pleased with my performance. They had no idea. I was like, oh, he's pretty good. Yeah. It was a good night. It's a good night.
Well, I know the crowd here gives you a lot of love. I mean, it's a good routine regardless, but we can really relate to a lot of what you have to say.
Yeah, what needs to be said.
Yeah. One thing I do want to ask you about was, now this conference, which is, I guess, pretty typical, it's a pretty monochromatic crowd,
to say the least.
Yeah. What would you do to basically get more people involved to attend things like this? I suggested this to a few people. I would like to come and perform. They don't have to pay me nothing. Just get me a room and travel. I'll do the performance for free. Mm-hmm. But give some African Americans like little mini scholarships to attend your conference. Because if in our community, you wouldn't want to advertise or let people know, like, you're going to a what? Yeah.
You know, you could probably sneak off, but you make it free, give them a little bit more incentive to say, well, let me go see what they're talking about. And then a couple will come and be like commercials, like, hey, next year, maybe you'll have 5 or 6 African Americans or minorities. You know, it's a snowball thing.
I mean, I know it can be difficult just coming out of the closet as an atheist, especially when all your family is very religious and your culture is very religious. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to fight what everyone expects of you. You also mentioned you were making a few jokes about Mexicans. So there, I don't know.
I make jokes. I make jokes about them. But
it's
to do it to raise. They are they're rowing in the same boat we are. They are very religious. Matter of fact, I'm going back home to see an atheist Hispanic comedian that's a friend of mine who is very popular. I won't even say his name because he's scared to death to let anyone know he's an atheist because he'll lose money. So they have the same. They have the same issue. I feel for them. Like, I care for my people. I care for anybody who's been tricked with religion.
Yeah.
Like, we all need to get out of this. So that's why I bring them up also.
Yeah.
And the immigration thing, I don't like how they're exploited, even though they're taking American jobs.
Yeah, the American jobs that nobody wants.
Right. Like, what would you rather do? Be exploited or go on welfare and sit on your and do something else, or be exploited for like $8 an hour? Yeah. Think I'll take the welfare. Just send it to my address.
Now, one thing I have noticed is growing. We're getting more speakers that are from Islam, Muslim atheists are making, and it's a scary thing for them. I mean, it's one thing to fight your community. It's quite another to fight a religion that's willing to kill you for it.
Right. Glad there's no black church bombers, no black, suicide bombers. You won't find none of those in the country. Trust me.
Well, not that they're black anyhow.
Yeah, right. Some white church guys might blow you up, kill an abortion clinic or something, but you don't see black people out blowing, for what they like. Yeah. If you guys really strongly believe this shit, go blow something up.
Yeah.
Won't happen. We don't care about it that deeply, I don't think.
It's kind of crazy. And let's 1 second about church shootings. It's amazing. You think about church shootings. This is the house of God. This is God's house. You think you'd be protected in God's house, but even there, it's.
Yeah. But see, that's where the skeptic in me comes in. Like, why aren't people asking more questions about this? Why do churches, these mega churches?
Yeah.
Why do they have surveillance systems? Isn't God watching?
Yeah.
Why would you have to invest? I've seen churches with security. Why the fuck would a church need security?
They got a lot of money.
Well, Jesus is not watching. Just like he kind of slept through that whole slavery thing.
Yeah. He's
not watching. Once again, he's not watching.
So what are your big plans to change the world for the better?
Well, I'm going back to shoot a comedy DVD special. Cool. My first one. It'll be about 45 minutes long, and it'll have a little documentary attached to it too, going out to the prison that I used to work in, going out to the middle school that I worked at, and probably in my real estate appraisal office. And I'm going to make the connection in this documentary to show everyone the unfairness that's in the system that is reality based.
Yes.
And I think I'll make a couple of specials, and I have an agent that's trying to get me on some TV shows as a guest, to have a voice. We're not heard. You don't see black atheists coming when we get slaughtered or something in church, or when we get killed in the street. They don't call for black atheists. They call for Reverend Sharpton. So he has the voice. So I'm going to get a voice for our people.
That's one of the most difficult things is, nobody wants to rally behind what they perceive as nothing.
Right.
It's like, what do you believe in? Well, how do you get behind a non-belief? Of course, a lot of people think atheism is a religion. What do you think about that?
That's totally diametrically opposed. I mean, it's the total opposite of religion.
Now,
that's the thing.
What do you tell people who know you're coming to a conference like this? Like, well, that's just your church that you're going to. That's just your church thing.
What do I tell them?
Or just go.
Tell them to stay out of church. First of all, why are you going? Why are you attending? What are you getting out of it? Why are you, I know I have family members that are very religious and simultaneously at the same time very poor.
Yeah.
Like, pray for some money.
Yeah.
All right? It's ridiculous to me.
I love your joke. If prayer works, why do people buy 2 lottery tickets?
Right. All you need is one. You let me hit the lottery one time, mega Powerball, whatever. One time, I'm good. Why are you buying 2 tickets? Get 1 ticket and pray.
Exactly. The power of prayer is so a colossal failure that no one can admit that it's just that useless.
Right. Scary. But it's scary to me the lack of thinking that people, you tell someone to focus for 10 seconds and just think of how insane it is for you to continue praying.
One of the main tools of religion is convincing people not to think. Is convincing people to just accept what we tell you. What we're telling you is the truth. Just accept it. Right.
Blindly. Come this way, sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard to convince people to think about what they're doing.
Right.
Because, especially, people who've been doing it a long time, that's a very difficult thing to say, I guess I was wrong my whole life.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a comfortable feeling to know that everything that you've been fed, brainwashed, pushed into your head to really come to the realization that it's all bogus. So
I mean, it's been difficult for me and probably for you as someone who's basically lifelong atheist. I mean, just never have drunk the Kool-Aid, never have really accepted it, to understand those people like Dan Barker, who for 30 years, not 30 years, he was a preacher
long
for many
enough.
Years.
Yeah.
And it was a true believer. And to start having doubts, I mean, that's, they have recovery from religion, which is real. I mean, you have to recover. It's a long process of letting go the preconceptions that all these things are true.
To unwind everything you've been told, it's like peeling an orange to get the rind up. Just unpeel all of that and get to the fruit. It takes a while.
Now, have you ever had any nieces or nephews come to you and say, I think I'm an atheist, but don't tell Mom?
Well, I've had a couple that tell me, I don't believe all that. Yeah. They say it to me.
Yeah.
I don't believe all that stuff either.
Okay,
but you can't be free enough to just,
Yeah, it's
quit fooling, quit playing the game along with everyone else and just let it go.
Well, my best friend who's Catholic also, his daughter came to me and was like, I'm an atheist. Aren't you proud of me? I was like, I know I shouldn't be, but I kind of am.
Right.
But he, has very strong. Faith is a huge part of his life, and he wants it to be part of his kid's life. And he, you can't really force somebody to believe, but you can force them to, basically
you can make them think. You can prod them. You can prompt them to think. Just think. Just think about this. Think about the insanity of the prehistoric fairy tale you've been told. Think about the probability of animals walking on an ark 2 by 2. I mean,
or just getting to the Middle East.
Yeah, right. I mean, the whole everything is like the telephone game, the longest running game of telephone in history.
I mean, it's the most ridiculous story ever told.
Yeah.
And it's the greatest story ever told. Yeah, it's the greatest story. It's
with new versions.
Yeah.
I mean, that should have triggered everyone's thought process. As soon as you get a new version of something, okay, who wrote the new version? Yeah. Just a remix? Did Puff Daddy do this shit?
Yeah. As soon as they start saying, well, maybe there were dinosaurs on the ark, you should say, see? That's just bullshit.
Time to go.
You would have known it would have been giant lizards on the ark in the Bible if it were true.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Are you married? Do you have any kids?
Married with 2 kids. Actually, I have 4 kids. Two sets of girls.
So how are you raising them? I mean, are you making atheism a focus, or are you making thinking?
Well, my 2 little ones just recently came from Camp Quest.
Oh.
And they are thoroughly full of the knowledge that we worship no one. We worship ourselves. We worship education. But there is no guy up in the sky that's going to make your life better. You have to do it yourself. So they're reality-based children. Now, my other set, my first wife, different story. So, but it's good.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time with me. And come to one of these conferences and see this guy. He's a great comedian, and I guess be looking for your DVD. And also, if you live in California, vote for him.
There you go, District 21. Thank you for this interview and giving me the opportunity to be on secular TV. We need all of the media outlets that we.
So
can,
where else can they find you, real quick?
Well, next weekend I'm going to be in San Diego at the Monsters on Sunday album release party with Shelley Segal.
I mean, like websites or
website is stevehillcomic.com. Twitter is Steve Hill at Steve Hill Comic, and of course I'm on Facebook. That's where I'm at the most.
Yeah.
And other than that, my phone number is 555. Just kidding. I'm all over the country. Usually, just go to my Facebook page and follow me or something, and you'll know where I'll be at.
Excellent. Well, I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and you can find me either there or look for Tom the Atheist on. And this is Secular TV. And thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Cool.
Cool.